Hello again, Tom here from Wheeler Automotive. Today, showing you around something rather special to me. This is a 2004 Land Rover Defender 90. It's a county hardtop. It's the 2.5 litre TD5. It's done just under 120,000 miles. And I first bought this about 3.5 years ago, and had it as my own work vehicle. So I had my logo on the back there. I'll put a photo up of it from a few years ago. And then I sold it to a chap called Steve, who's had it the last 2 years. Steve had quite a car collection, and this one didn't get used that much, so it's only really covered about 1,500 miles since I sold it 2 years ago. So Steve called me up and said, look, I'm not really using the Defender, would you be interested in buying it back? And I absolutely bit his hand off because I love it. I did an awful lot to this thing when I bought it, which I'll list in the ad because it's quite a lot. But we did new terra firma suspension all round, the shock, the springs and the dampers. I had the wheels painted in a Volkswagen colour, actually pepper grey, and fitted with these Cooper STT Pro mud tyres. I had all of the light. I changed all of the lights to LED. The headlights are JW speaker. They were 600 quid for the pair. The front bumper is stainless steel. I put a sump guard on, a Bison one. It's very heavy, I remember fitting it. I've just had all of the checker plate painted black again because it peeled in a few places and it just looked a bit tatty, so I've had all of the checker plate refinished. Really pleased with how that's come out. Looks fantastic. There's some down the side as well. And also had these new side steps fitted. It had the sort of classic single step each side, and they were just a bit scabby, so yeah, we've put these new steps on. I think they look really good, really set the truck off. But yeah, it's got a great service history. We've just given it a full service. That's engine oil and filters, air filter, fuel filter. We greased up all of the bearings on the prop shaft and everything like that. We've been through it underneath. It's still rock solid. There's no rot or rust on the rear cross member. The bulkhead's all good. You know, all of the places where these are susceptible to rust, this one is solid. On the last MOT, it had some advisories on the front wheel bearings, so he had the hubs apart and the bearings were actually okay. Just repacked them with new grease and tightened them down, and they're perfect still, so that's okay. I'm going to put a new 12-month MOT on it, and I expect it to pass without any advisories because it is in such good condition. But let's go around it, and there's a few minor marks on it. We'll show you those. So when I bought it, you might see these holes here. It had light guards on it, metal light guards, and it also had, these were for a rubber bull bar which sort of wrapped around the front, and it didn't look great, so that was the first thing to come off. And then I put these piano black trims around the lights and grille in, which I think look superb. And these are now 2 and a bit years old, and they look as good as the day I put them on. I remember them being quite expensive, so I'm glad I spent a bit extra on it, and as well as the front bumper, because you can get a front bumper for one of these for 80 quid off eBay, but 12 months later they're rusty and falling apart. So I'm glad I went with the expensive options on these. And the tyres as well. These tyres have only covered about 2,000 miles, and I think they've got a bit of life in them. All the brakes are all good. You can't really see the brakes that well through the wheels, but we've checked all the discs and pads all round are all good. The boost alloys have held up very well. There's a little, I guess that's a curb mark, and another one just here. That's about it. But this front wing is in excellent shape. I have got a snorkel on it, and the 500 watt light bar, that was incredibly expensive as well. That is off-road use only because it is seriously bright. We've had that professionally fitted, and there is a switch inside. I'll show you when we get in. But yeah, this offside front wing, a little bit of scabbiness just here, but otherwise it's all nice and straight. There's no dents in it. The driver's door's in pretty good shape as well. There's a couple of dents above the handle, which is from where people push them to close the door. Same on the other side. It's one of those things with a Defender that just happens. Another new step. The mud flaps are all in excellent condition, and the rear quarter here is in really good shape. The actual van sides are very straight. There's no real marks on them. There's a little scratch here, and that was on it when I bought it, and there's a little dent just behind it again, which has been there since I can remember. There's a tiny bit of corrosion starting on the top where the tub meets the roof. Again, that's been like that for 3 years, so I don't really see it getting much worse anytime soon. These are Y-Pack LED lights, all working correctly. These we had painted again as well, and they've come up really well as the ones under the doors. Really pleased with that. It makes it look much tidier. Another thing I had done a few years ago was the rear cross member I had painted in gloss black, and it's held up very well. Just a couple of spots of surface corrosion starting to come out, but on the whole held up remarkably well, really. This tyre's never been on the road, and this side's in really nice shape. All the glass is in good nick. The rear is in nice tidy condition. Does have a dog guard fitted at the minute. The near side, there's a few light scratches on here. I'm not quite sure, that wasn't there when I sold it, so that's happened in the last 2 years at some point. Not sure how, but I'm going to have a go with the buffer, see if I can get them out. But, the roof's in very good shape. All the glass is nice in the roof as well, and this van side is excellent. No dents or ripples in it. Looks really smart, as is the rest of the rear quarter. There's a couple of little marks on this wheel arch, a couple more here, look. Nothing serious. And here's a few of those same little dents. These are just from where people slam it in, and there's a little scratch here. Again, very minor. And then round to this front wing. Got a snow cowl over the air intake for the heater. Yeah, I think it looks absolutely amazing still, even after, you know, it's been 2 and a bit years since I'd seen it. And yeah, absolutely cracking looking truck. Inside is still very clean. Door cards are in good shape. Steve put these really good fitted seat covers on. The seats are the same as this. I had this this box put in, but the seats are the same as that, and they're all in really good shape. I'm not going to be able to put that on with one hand, but that's just where I've washed it. But it's all nice and clean. I don't think anyone's ever smoked in it. Everything works. I also had quite an expensive DAB radio fitted, which actually gets a really good DAB signal, because we put a splitter in which runs off the normal aerial of the car. So this Pioneer DAB stereo also has Bluetooth for your phone. That's the microphone up there, and you can actually make and receive phone calls. Although these are quite noisy things to ride around in, you can have a conversation with someone. Let's start up that wonderful TD5. This thing always starts first turn of the key. It is cold. I've only just moved it from washing it over there to here. You can see the mileage there, just under 120,000. This steering wheel I put on a couple of years ago because the OEM steering wheels are ginormous. So this is quite nice. I don't like the really thick sort of race car looking ones. I think this is a nice style for it. But both the electric windows work. Has got remote central locking all working. I've got 2 sets of keys. Yeah, it's ready to go. I'm going to take it and get it MOT'd for the new owner. Everything in here works. The heater actually works very well once it's up to temperature. Yeah, the clutch has done 2,000 miles, so lots of life in that. And that was a genuine clutch we had fitted. I did have wired in the DRLs into the headlights, which I think look really smart. In the video that might flicker, but they are not flickering in real life. That's just where the camera is picking up the frequency of the LEDs. But yeah, really pleased to have it back, and we'll be really sad to see it go again. My 2004 Land Rover Defender 90 TD5.